Welcome back, everybody. Everybody have a good time yesterday? And you enjoy movie night? Should that become a fixture of these events, you think? I think it's yes. We're going to have some new followers to movie night, I hope, and see you guys out there chatting with us as we go through things. So we have just a couple reminders here. If any of you purchased your tickets to come here in the last week and a half, and you didn't receive your 3D ornament yet, I can't even follow that up. You can come find one of us or any of our staff members. They'll get your ornament. We did ship out a bunch, I think last week for like the 2 weeks prior. But I know some of you donated for the Fort Wilderness or the 3D ornament, so you can come pick them up. They'll save us a couple bucks on shipping, and you get to go home with it today. You have breakfast out there, so I hope you're enjoying that. That's until 10:15, so if you do need that last coffee or slice of bacon or yogurt or whatever, go out there. We don't have yogurt, so enjoy a waffle.
They can go down and buy yogurt.
You can buy yogurt down there, yeah. Lunch is at 2:15 today, and then we'll be back at 1:30. You all should have an updated QR code out there as well. What did I say?
12:15. It's at lunch is at 12:15.
Oh, yeah, 12:15. What did I say?
You were telling me to use that Back to the Future time machine down at the other
It's
park.
parked out back. That's the Universal panel. It's
Yeah.
different, yeah. And as always, the bar is open, and feel free to enjoy those beverages.
Is it open now already?
Yeah, it's
Did anybody
open.
get a drink already? Is that? I'm just curious. No.
I don't see any. I don't see any
anybody yet. All right.
They're not admitting to it.
Yeah.
At the conclusion of today too, we'll talk a little about this later, but we'll go in there. We'll do the silent auctions and announce those. So we'll talk a little bit later on how that's going to work. So don't forget to go over there and bid on those posters if you're interested. That's what I have. Do you have?
Oh, if you're here for the FCP conference, that's actually next door. So just make sure that you're in the right place. We don't have a golf tournament, but I think we're going to maybe do something at Winter Summerland next year.
Yeah.
We could kind of do that. So.
And they splurged for an arch over their entrance.
Yeah,
We got to one up it now.
Doing that.
We're taking notes.
Well, we know what the Reedy Creek codes are like.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
But do they have a rainbow tunnel, Todd? I don't think so.
No. Speaking of the Rainbow Tunnel,
Got one in pieces back
we have
there.
the Rainbow Tunnel. Everybody remember the Rainbow Tunnel from last time?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had attempted to put it together. We feel that it was kind of.
It's glowed away forever.
It is here in bags
In
because it
bags.
came with these duffel bags to carry it. So any of you are interested in making a small donation at more than $4.99, you may load it into your car and take it away and either dispose of it.
We'll even give you the instruction booklet.
Yeah, he's got the, and we also have the fire retardant code for all the,
everything.
We have that. So if anybody is interested in getting it, by all means, it probably can be repaired. It just couldn't be done in the time that we had to set it up. So other than that, I think, are we ready to roll?
No, I skipped my speech yesterday because we were running over, and now I'm running into my own panel, so I can say whatever I want. Coming in here, I just want to say a couple things. Coming in here on Friday to pick seats, I had a gentleman stop me back there, and I know he knows I'm talking about him, and he stopped me and he just said, "I feel like we're friends even though you don't know me." And I said, "We are friends." So for those of you who have listened to us, who followed us, who've been here for all or part of the journey that led us to this stage this day and been to our prior events, listened to the podcast, those kinds of things, we are friends. And for those of you who have just discovered us through this event, we're friends now too. This is an incredible community. And I think that it's important to note the sense of community that exists, especially with this group of people and the people who are interested in hearing these stories. We started this, as I said, 10 years and 10 months ago was our first podcast. So about 11 years ago, we started talking. And 4 years ago, I was going through a little bit of a time. And these guys here helped hold me up. Hal, we know, went through some challenging times in the last year after the hurricane. You've all had your challenges. We've all been there for each other. It's a brotherhood between us, but it's also through the podcast and everything else, social media. I've met a lot of you are my real friends, and you've been there for me. I had one friend out there who, when I was sick, said, "I will fly up and go to your doctor's appointments with you." And when they're not well, we try to return the favor and, hey man, we're there for you. So this is a community that lifts each other up. But if you're one of those people that has gone through a tough time, think about the people you've met through this community. Lean on any one of them. It's a wonderful group of people that will take your call and say, what's going on? Let me help you. None of us wants to get a call afterwards that, so-and-so made a bad choice last night. And we've gotten that call more than once. So how does that all tie into this? The men and women that are going to be on this stage that we've celebrated yesterday and will celebrate today worked to create this place that created this community, and they created an incredible place. And I know what I do for a living. No one's going to be holding a conference in 20 years to talk about the payroll checks that I cut. No one's going to want to know about the change in federal tax code that I had to apply to the payrolls in Pennsylvania or anything else. It's not going to happen. What they have done is remarkable and unique, and it is appropriate that we celebrate not only what they created, where we created these memories with our families and our friends who are not here anymore, but also that we let them know as they look back on their careers, what you did matters, and we cannot wait to celebrate it again for a second day. So why don't we get started doing that?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm great. All right, Hal and I are up here. I'm going to sit here.
I was like, I'll go.
No, I'm good. We just need Fox and Haston. And Jeff. Yeah, so we need a fifth chair, right? All right. Do I want it? No, I can do a... Gary's our stage man, and he is the best in the world. That was all for your benefit, Todd Tuckey. That pratfall was all for your benefit. Don't worry. I'm going to take my table away? Yeah. All right, I'll move over here. Is this the good chair? I want the good chair. All right, we're good. Moving up. There we go. Come on in. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats. Fox Nolte returns to the stage. Oh, you didn't? Can we get a handheld mic for Haston? We forgot to mic him up.
Kind of important.
So somebody run up a handheld mic for Haston. Thanks, Gary. Haston says hello. Haston Zylstra, historian. Jeff Crawford from the Progress City Radio Hour. And Hal Bowers.
Yay.
And we are here today to talk about the host community to Walt Disney World, Lake Buena Vista. And it's a good thing that Haston has a mic now because the first section is his. We're going to talk about the community down there, and that was the townhomes and the shopping village and some things that might have been and some of the other stuff that was there. So we start off. I'll give it a minute. I know to give it a minute after the first click.
Breathe.
Once again. There. They only just started running the clock now, so. Yes, Lake Buena Vista, and what am I seeing it up there? It's moving on the one screen, getting them going.
It's like
Everything happening. There we go. There's Walt and Starship building this city. So your host community of Lake Buena Vista was, hold on.
Now for the light show.
Yeah. That's the one I want to see on the screen. Okay. I don't know what order that's there. Now we're right. They got the monitors right. Your host community, residences, business campus, commercial center, commercial shopping, transportation hub, and recreation. Now, when they built this place, it was just the theme park and a few hotels. And park used to be open like 9 to 6, a little later in the summer. And they had what else are people going to do? And they had promised to build a city, which is why Florida gave them all their zoning concessions. So they said, we're going to do all these things. And they just kept announcing all these things for years and years and years. Here's a 1971 rendering of the potential community of Lake Buena Vista. And On the commercial side, we always like to point out, they did build the commercial center. That one Sunbank building got built, and the rest of it did not.
I know none of you guys are ever going to get to be in there, but it is absolutely gorgeous. 70s architecture. There's an atrium with little waterfalls and ponds. Gorgeous.
And if you buy her book, Hidden History of Walt Disney World, you can see the inside of the Sunbank building. Also, if you have an account these days with Truist is the successor, like 3 times removed of Sunbank.
Oh, that's right.
the
They can
bank
just
that
go to the
bought
bank.
Sunbank, yeah.
Yeah, just go to the bank.
Just go to any Truist and be like, hey, I'd like to buy some Mickey dollars. Okay, so now we're going to get to Haste, and I will hand this over, and you're not going to linger, right? You're going to move this along.
We're going to move this right along. So, hi, my name is Hastings Zelstra, and I'm kind of shocked that I'm up here because
Clearly, you had no microphone.
Exactly. This story starts with me buying a townhome in about the time that these guys started podcasting. And I bought this cute little 70s townhome in Santa Ana, and I was wearing this yesterday. I wore Fox's shirt because I'm like, oh, isn't it really cute how the townhome buildings in Lake Buena Vista kind of look like the townhome buildings that I live in. Well, over the last couple of years, and thanks to my friend Rick, who I live with, I have discovered this absolutely amazing story that connects where I live to Lake Buena Vista. And it's very neat. But it all starts back to something else that I go to a lot and that I love, and it starts at Disneyland with a man named Earl Kaltenbach Jr. He came out of World War II without a job, so he worked for some of the movie studios. He worked for MGM. He was a set designer on Portrait of Jenny, and he was basically in the thing. And then all of the movie community was like, "Hey, Walt Disney's building this whole Disneyland thing and needs help." So he was brought on as an art director under Gabe, and he worked on a lot of the backsides of the Disneyland buildings, including the floor-to-ceiling glass and a lot of the futuristic designs on the back of the buildings. And so when you see the backs of those original 1955 Tomorrowland buildings, Earl Kaltenbach worked on those. He later then went on to do a ton of housing projects like Rossmore and a few others. The Disneyland connection had really given him a really strong name in design and in architecture. And so he ended up working on what is kind of universally known as the first California townhome. Now, what makes a California townhome is it generally faces a green belt, unlike traditional row housing, and it generally has a lot of amenities that you wouldn't normally have in a smaller home. And so he worked on this first big one called Huntington Continental. I love this ad, $10,000 to own a home, a new kind of carefree ownership, over 400 houses sold in 3 weeks. And I just love this whole you own the land, but everybody takes care of it. Aren't HOAs awesome? This is a whole new concept.
Convenient.
And so he starts this first townhome project. It's very popular. This is kind of the first medium-sized one. Well, then he goes on to work with a company called the Grant Corporation, which was owned by Santa Anita Consolidated, and he works on a place called Bradford Place. And that's where I live. I live in Bradford Place, Santa Ana. And Earl was the architect on this. There was a few other designers, and this was the first really big complex. And this was really futuristic for its time. They were really pushing it hard. Here's an article from House and Home magazine from December of 1971 talking about Bradford Place and how much it sold really well with these exteriors and awesome interior shots in our pool area. And it was 600 units in the first one, and they built 4 more communities, all with the same buildings designs, just absolutely exploding at this time. And I absolutely love, this is one of the ads from my complex.
And
I
your
love
shirt.
the 70s. Yes, my Ask the Man from Bradford Place. It was hard because you had to sell this new concept to people, that this townhome concept in the 70s wasn't just, something that people would automatically opt into because they didn't want apartment living, but they wanted a single family home, but maybe they couldn't afford it. And so they did this. My favorite thing in this is the pass-through kitchen window with patio bar for outdoor serving and parties. And that's basically just a slat of wood that's outside one of the windows that you can stick stuff on. But they try to do this whole connection to nature thing. It was very interesting. I love this ad from my complex talking about its minutes from everywhere. Load up in your 1970s car and take an 18-minute drive to Disneyland. Disneyland was always a big part of this. I still laugh when I get in the car and I set one of the parking lots to Disneyland and it says it's 18 minutes. I think oh, it's still 18 minutes all these years later. And it's just it's really interesting, this selling this concept. I love this picture of these kids in my complex that are just playing on blocks of wood. No play equipment, no anything else. Here you go. Here's a tot lot for them to play on. It's just a bunch of blocks of wood.
Yeah, in my day, we had lumber.
And so this was popular enough that Carol Icahn, who was a famous Southern California home designer, designed the models. And there's a book I've got over in the village of the models and the complexes. And I just love the 70s vibe. I love how she said for inexpensive homes, you shouldn't have a TV that's more than 12 inches because they probably won't be able to afford it. But it's just great, all of these interior shots and this, 70s design, trying to really sell this futuristic concept of, even though these are small homes, that you can sort of fully live inside of them. And I just love that carpeted kitchen with all the the eggs that are part of some sort of centerpiece design. It's just wonderful. I'm thinking about refurbishing back to that.
That'd be so cool.
So here's the interesting thing. Our Disneyland connections don't just end with an ad and with Earl Kaltenbach designing it. So at the end of the Carousel of Progress, you would go up the speed ramp. You would see that beautiful Progress City model that's now on display over at the People Mover. And you would go upstairs, and there would be General Electric Builder of the Month homes pushing this GE gold medallion all-electric lifestyle. And they presented Grant with this award, and Bradford Place was featured in the Carousel of Progress for the few years that it ran at Disneyland. So you've got this really strong connection between Grant Corporation and the company and everything else, and this California townhome concept is just exploding to the point where the Urban Land Institute is we need to do a study on these because we don't know if people actually like to live in these or not. And it was interesting that this was a big West Coast phenomenon, but on the East Coast, only about 1 in 5 people said that they wanted to live in a townhome because it was such a new concept. And so, super dynamic, 30% of all homes in 72. And I love that Bradford Place, again, at the front of this so much that it was featured in this book as one of the groups that, people were surveyed at. And so really, this Grant company was really at the forefront of new home developing. So what does Disney do? Disney says, okay, well, there's this really popular East Coast or West Coast concept. So what are we going to do? Like Disneyland, we'll bring it to the East Coast with the Lake Buena Vista townhouses. And I love this construction shot. The funny thing is that Earl Kaltenbach was the one who came up with the idea of doing the double cinder block between the homes so that you would get as little noise as possible. And these townhouses out here, and there's a great entire guide that's up on the Walt Disney World, on the Retro WW site with this flyer, talking about what the costs are to basically lease one of these townhomes for a couple years and how it could be your second home, right? So kind of DVC, long before DVC was a thing. And I love this article headline where they're building out these townhomes, and Disney is calling average folks if you have money.
Your average and poor do not apply.
Exactly. Which is kind of funny because the goal of townhomes on, the West Coast was the opposite. And it was interesting because I was looking at some of the Disney docs over there, and they said they weren't going to probably build like non-single family homes until 1977 in that original plan. So they really accelerated this concept up quickly. I love this idea that you're just hanging out in the beautiful outdoor Florida sun on your little patio at your second home, saying hi to your neighbors. This real just community of people gathering. And that was kind of the big part of it, is that they had seen this explosion of this community concept. And so it's 1973. Disney is starting to there's some building challenges and whatever else. And so they go, well, we're getting ready to do the Space Mountain expansion, and we're starting to think about Epcot Center. And so we kind of want to do this house thing because the townhomes were moderately successful, not super successful, but moderately successful. So we need to bring in a company who is effective at this, who can make these townhomes sort of happen. And come to find out, that company is Grant Construction, who built the townhomes that I live in. And so here we are, kind of full circle, Grant built a ton of these giant townhome and single-family home complexes. Why don't we bring them out to Florida? I actually had a chance to email one of the people that was on this team, James L. Basaric, and he was saying that, that Florida thing, it didn't work out. They came out here and they built some stuff, and Disney had a grand concept that they didn't want to really fully implement. And I love that this concept includes great communities, like the boating community or the golf community,
The Western community.
Yeah, the Western
The
community.
Western.
I'm obsessed with that community, yeah.
Just these kind of crazy, crazy different complexes that would have existed in Lake Buena Vista. And you can see from that one piece of art that they're already starting thinking about Epcot Center. So what's interesting is this actually appeared in the 1974 annual report, where they talked about how they appeared with Grant. And it was just, Grant must notify Disney further of its plans during the early part of 1975. So it kind of started out on rocky ground. Grant built one test community here in Florida called Lake Forest. And it was not built anywhere around here in Orlando or whatever else. It was built down in Tampa. And it was built right by Busch Gardens and UCF. And it was a challenge. There were problems. Things didn't sell well. They could not move these townhomes, and they really, really suffered. And so what happened? Well, Grant Corporation in 1976 failed to exist. The Lake Buena Vista townhomes became the Lake Buena Vista vacation villas, so you could stay in them for a week, almost like a timeshare or any other property. And unfortunately, by that point in time, the idea of residences was kind of over. And that's my crazy connection and story to from where I live in Bradford Place out here to Lake Buena Vista. So it's just kind of crazy.
And now's when he gives his Airbnb pitch, if you want to stay in his home.
Hey, you renovate that back to the 70s, I'll give you any amount of money.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. You need a retro renovation.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what was built at Lake Buena Vista.
I will say, as a kid, when I visited Lake Buena Vista, you would look across the water to the townhomes, and you just thought, oh, well, that's where the rich people come to stay on vacation. Because it's, oh my gosh, they're getting a whole house and for a week, that's crazy.
And it's funny that concept came out of basically, lower income housing in California,
Right. Yeah.
but it was so popular. Disney was like, we got to get a piece of that.
So let's talk about what was built at Lake Buena Vista. So if you were at movie night last night, especially for my slideshow, but for all of it, this is going to be a lot of the same way. We're going to take a walk through the village and see the things that were built and make comments about it. So this is the original Lake Buena Vista shopping village. Now imagine where those parking garages are today as opposed to this solid parking for 150 cars, maybe something like that there.
Yeah, that was a big part of what they were trying to do, was eliminate cars.
Yeah.
And they were trying to make a community that relied not on the family car, and paths and golf carts and all that was.
Yeah, my favorite is the old promotional verbiage talking about like riding a horse to the village.
Yes.
And
What's
like,
wrong with that?
And like, oh yeah, like go from your treehouse and ride a horse and tie the horse up and buy a steak at the gourmet pantry and then ride back. And it's like,
Take your personal boat down.
oh, a float boat, a quiet electric float boat.
And the land on the left there, you can see, is where eventually they would build the Empress Lily and the West Side and Pleasure Island and all that goes beyond there. But the Empress Lily would be kind of right there where they dug it out and built it on land, which you'll see. And that island in the middle goes away.
Yeah.
This was the newspaper ad for the opening day. Some of the great signs that we'll see in some of the shops. There's a full listing of the shops at the bottom there. But it's so different, so unique, so exciting. Only the Disney people could have done it. And it's open every day, 10 till 10. So when the park closed at 6, you had something to do. You could go down for 4 hours and shop for some tobacco or some fresh-made ceramics.
I think that they really got this
I did zoom in. I did zoom in on the bottom of that, and AI tries really hard to give you the list of, to give you a clean list of the shops. I mean, we do have lists of the shops, but I just thought it was pretty funny to go through because some of these didn't last too long. But some wonderful options down there. This is the ribbon cutting, which, why not? Cinderella and the mice. And I couldn't tell, originally when I looked at this picture, if you look dead center, pointing at Cinderella, I thought that was Abe Lincoln. and it's a guy in like Victorian garb. And I'm like, all right, he's here to shop too. But, they did sell, hats at Sir Edward's, so maybe he was there to buy a new stovepipe hat. Who knows? And the marketing. I didn't include it in here, but they used to have postcards that they would put in the rooms that had Mickey on one side standing in front of that structure in the back is the Captain's Tower, which is one of the only things that's still there, obscured now, but still there from the original village. It was kind of like their castle, their spaceship Earth. That was their center point where events were held and meet and greets, some of which you'll see. And they used to leave a card, and it was Mickey like standing in front of the Captain's Tower, and on the back side of the postcard was like, "Hey, join me down at the shopping village when you're done in the parks." And there is the Captain's Tower. Some of this we're just kind of give you like, this is what it was like to walk through there. You'd put on your Sunday best and your finest bell bottoms and wander around the village. This is the flower shop. In case you wanted to buy, this one was real flowers, not plastic flowers like the ones they sold at the market Martin McCarthy told us about yesterday.
That staircase is still there. It's attached to the front of the Christmas shop.
Oh, right, yeah.
And the Captain's Tower is now the pin trading place.
And so there is the interior of the flower shop in case you wanted to know what kind of flowers you could buy. And I love the terrarium down there on the bottom left.
Gotta have it.
And Haston, if you're looking to put together some interior decor, these ladies could come from, was this Miss Merrilee's maybe?
This is Miss Merrilee's Madness, yeah.
Well, we should talk about the interiors that, at least in the townhomes, they were designed by Emile Curie, which is, an incredible Disney interior person, and they had like their own little interior design firm that they had as well.
I always, when I see 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and then I contrasted it with this, I'm like, the same guy that did Captain Nemo's salon did this?
It's a progression.
All
He did
the weird little
everything.
set dressing in Mary Poppins and Haunted Mansion, and now he's doing this.
Branching out.
And so when we get shots of slides from down there, it's great because a lot of what they took pictures of was the signs in the exteriors because you didn't normally walk into a suit shop or a candy store and start taking photos inside back then with your film camera. So what you got a lot was these scenery shots, which is just great. I mean, every shop seemed to have a phenomenal sign. There's the Toys Fantastique wood-carved sign. That's the interior of Toys Fantastique.
So the greatest thing about that store, and for those of you that were there, you would walk in, they had the whole bottom floor was things, but there were stairs that you would take upstairs and they had a table where they had some toys out where you could actually
Gary, come
play
back.
with stuff.
I need you on the next slide. Go ahead.
And it was as a kid, it was like we would rush there to go upstairs in order to play with like little wind-up dolls and those water toys where you could push the button and it would squirt the little things
puzzles.
around. Yeah,
Right.
that was good stuff.
So probably my favorite sign was the one to Sir Edward's Haberdasher. And it was the men's store there where you could buy dress clothing. And if you wanted to go inside Sir Edward's, you might buy a green plaid suit and be measured for it right there. But please note the mannequin behind the guy. And it's terrible because I'm not sure if it's just the lighting or if they were going for like Bing Crosby and blackface or what it is, but
Or is it a bronze mannequin?
it's a bronze mannequin, maybe. Like, I don't know. Maybe they just had too much California sun. And then,
Ceramic dog.
Yeah,
from
being
Wheel of
overlooked
Fortune.
by a ceramic dog.
and the best part is the guy on the right's like, I don't know, tan or tan. What do you think, honey? like is this, he needs her assistance to decide which shade of tan he's buying. And then this one, I love the double shots, but you can see, I'm sure Jim and some of the folks over there that lived here bought a lot of clothes at Sir Edward's. I'm sure they got a discount down there as well. So, but we have a few examples, and that's why I had to call Gary back.
Oh, lovely.
We've acquired some over the years. I'm not going to try it on because it'd be fat guy in a little coat. But there are, hold on to that for a second. Let me distribute the ties here. We got 4 ties. We're not going to put them on, but they'll be on display in the room. But if you guys look at the back leaf, the tail, it has the made especially for Sir Edward's Haberdasher, Lake Buena Vista. And this jacket here, which Todd's wife desperately would like to take with her, also says Sir Edward's Haberdasher inside.
Very refined.
And that was, this has been hanging on the back door of my office for like a year now, so I was glad to finally get it down here. So they'll be on display in the village, and you can check out what it would have been like to shop for tan clothes and plaid clothes with a woman always telling you in the photos which clothes you should be buying at Sir Edward's Haberdasher. Branded jewelry boxes, absolutely. I don't know how many of you out there might own one of these. We don't actually. But if you bought your significant other a lovely piece of jewelry like that, you could get it in a Lake Buena Vista Village satin box. The signs.
They're just incredible.
That light bite sign is one of the great things ever.
The-
Truly.
Yeah, the light bulb.
And it was about
Yeah.
yay tall.
Yeah, it
I
was
think on the
huge.
side of the
And
wall.
He's got the fork and knife. He's ready.
All hand carved.
We were cracking up and reading about the opening of the village. We found out that Light Bite, their food didn't arrive in time, so they had to serve hamburgers and hot dogs on the first day. Not that much of a light bite.
Well, it's still not as great as the, what was the restaurant in Epcot and right past Spaceship Earth, the Sunshine,
The Sunrise Terrace.
Sunrise Terrace, when they opened, and Epcot, it was just like 140 degrees every day, especially out there before they put the sails up in the redo.
Yeah.
That plaza was so hot, and you get spaghetti and meatballs was like their specialty.
Yummy.
Terrific signs. Captain Jack's, the Windjammer Dock Shop, Miss Merrilies Fashions.
The Captain Jack's logo lasted forever, as did Captain Jack's.
Oh, we have more photos of Captain Jack's.
Yeah, I did a blog post when it closed.
Ooh, Old World. Look at that.
Yes.
A little taste of the Old World.
So the statuary that they sprinkled around, and we have probably 400 slides from this guy that shot. So Grandma Moses sitting down there on the left is in a lot of my shots on the website. A little bit at Christmas time, they would just put a little boughs of holly around
That's
those.
the Lego store now.
Yes.
Yeah, you can still see the same basic shape. And again, absolutely fabulous light fixtures everywhere.
So there's Captain Jack's looking across at the Captain's Tower.
You think it's Jack's Tower?
Yeah, maybe it is Jack's Tower. The Pottery Chalet. If any of you ever saw the movie Ghost, where Patrick Swayze is making pottery with Demi Moore, This is not where it happened, but it might have been where they got the inspiration. You would go inside, just like going into a Rebus Brothers now and watch them carve the glass. They would sit there and the potters would be hard at work. There were so many examples of this. If you do a search on eBay for Lake Buena Vista pottery, you'll find stuff that was made in here. They sold souvenir mugs. They sold flower pots and vases and
Moose heads?
Moose heads. There's a $1,500 moose head on. I don't think I put it in the
Weird
slideshow.
pictures, yeah.
Yeah, some really interesting stuff, but they were just churning it out, and then they would load it up outside and be like, please come buy us.
Yep.
And I guess eventually it was like, hey, this one's not selling, let's paint it. Let's paint and glaze it and see how that does.
I just love the idea of going to Disney World and being like, oh yeah, I bought a flower pot.
giant
Obviously.
one.
Well, so what Hal used to tell us is the original target audience were locals, right?
Right, very, very much so. So, I mean, the tourist trade was obviously, okay, but they did as much as they could to draw locals in as possible. So I'm sure we'll get to some of the seasonal events and things they did, but they would always have ads in the newspaper, and it was a treat to be able to go over there.
Yep.
There wasn't, Orlando, like Orlando Fashion Square, Colonial Plaza was there.
Yep.
Orlando Fashion Square hadn't been built yet, or was probably in sort of a proto stage. So this was a big deal, and they, as we get into the wine shop and things, they really had high-class merchandise and really good stuff. There was nothing like this. Would be like the Galleria of today.
And I wonder how much of that relates to like those originally going to being residences and thinking about the residences
Right,
and how
right.
well we're going to need the things that people are going to want a flower pot for their beautiful town.
And that's it. That is the other. As you said, you could go buy a steak. You could go buy wine.
The
It's
gourmet pantry, they had grocery stores, they had a wine store, barber.
There's also an element of, and I wouldn't besmirch anybody by saying this, the guys in charge of Disney at the time also built things that they themselves wanted. So they love golf, so they built 3 golf courses and had famous golf guys come in and help design them and all. When you're living down here, hey, I'm building this house in Windermere. I can't get a good prime rib. I can't find a place to decorate my house. There's not a decent men's store around. We'll build a village and outfit it with what they wanted.
They bring their sourdough in
Bring
and
their
everything.
sourdough,
But I mean, it
daily
became-
interesting cuts of meat at
That's
the
right.
butcher.
But it became a real community hub too. I mean, it's like between that and the Lake Buena Vista Club, they were bringing in, women's groups and all kinds of different meetings and everything were happening. It was just the stuff of community life down below Orlando.
I believe that the Lake Buena Vista Rotarians still meet at the Dutch Inn. I can't remember what it's called now. It's the first hotel on the left in
Grosvenor,
Hotel
right?
Plaza
Isn't
Boulevard.
it the Grosvenor now?
Yeah, I think so.
So there's the tag that would come on each thing, and there would also be the artist would etch their name into whatever they created, whoever the ceramic person was that made it, or potter. Posh Pets, yes, there was a pet store at the beginning. I always tell people there was until what was it, Goofy's Tales or animal. There was a like pet supply store down there with pet toys and things until they redid Disney Springs. There was a now there's like a pet specific rack in the gigantic World of Disney down there. And AI cleaned this up since it appeared on the Progress City podcast, but yes, you could go and there's a little scamp looking at a puppy. I don't think he bought it, but maybe they put it in their carry-on and brought it home from their trip to Walt Disney World.
Like Lucy bringing the cheese, right?
Yes.
Just like stuffed in the
So,
blanket.
Von Otto's Antiques. I think that's Ports of the World, right?
Port of entry.
Port of entry.
Yeah.
So Von Otto's Antiques, with both of these stores, I guess one story I was told, I'm not giving any credence to this, is that the Disney executives, managers, et cetera, could go down, and if you knew the person who did the ordering for these stores, you could say, hey, my wife really wants this $5,000 Chippendale for our house. And they would order it and put it in stock, and then you could go down and buy it with your 50% employee discount. So Disney was subsidizing furnishing their homes at a slight discount. It's the Ports of Entry. I'm not looking over at that table because I'm just, shut up,
Deals.
Kids are getting bored with all this shopping, and it's not time to eat yet. What do we do?
Whatchamacallit?
A village whatchamacallit.
I'm surprised they just didn't build a bunch of blocks of wood.
Right.
As long as it did, I mean, it's
I started with
adjacent.
that. So yeah, this was the playground equipment down there. It goes through some iterations. So you'll see it in multiple shots here. There is a model of it out there in Art Lyon's display that he 3D printed.
Again, this is roughly in front of what's now Ghirardelli. So when you see Ghirardelli, that was Light Bite, and this was sitting in front of it in that big open spot.
There is the world's hottest piece of sheet metal.
This makes me feel hot to look at that picture.
And I see all the nods. Yeah.
The interesting thing about this is from this point forward in the subsequent slides, watch how they tried to address the fact that you could get third-degree burns coming down this slide.
Eye legs.
So this is in and a little more built up, a little more crowded around there, more umbrellas up to try to cool you off after you got the burns. Here you could slide down and burn yourself on this fire pole. But he's got a full-on jacket on, so it must be, well, if he's a Floridian, it's September.
Yeah, he's protected.
Anybody else, it's January. And then you see they covered it with canvas after that to try to be like,
That perch was like, if you could get up into that perch, that was the coolest place to hang out while you're waiting for your parents.
Yeah.
By
And
far.
then the obligatory, you know what, this is fine, but it's the 90s. We're trying to Vegas this place up. We're moving towards downtown Disney. Michael Eisner must have said, you know what we really need to do with that? We got to like Wonders of Life it up. And so you get a whole color scheme there to kind of give it its last appearance. That's a very 90s sweatsuit on that mom in the background.
Like, and
Weird little
are
balls on
those
sticks.
lightning rods or just
weird little balls
decorative?
At the top, I think, Paul, did you have a couple things left from the Tomorrowland fit out that they just said we'll pop them on top of it? I mean,
It's like a grape tomato on a toothpick.
maybe that's where they did the Radio Disney. They broadcasted from it there. Could be that. But now it is finally time to eat, and you can't do a panel with me without getting to the food. So the Village restaurant was kind of their flagship, classy spot to go before they built the Empress Lily. And if you ate inside there, you might find it interesting that there was trees growing up from the ground and these planters and all, and say, wow, where did they get that idea? Well, the Four Seasons restaurant in New York City opened in the Seagram's building in 1958. In its heyday, it was a favorite of Jackie Kennedy and all of the jet set in the 60s. It finally closed right before COVID, and they've talked about relocating it or maybe opened a fake version somewhere. But what they used to do was they would change the greenery and all in there for the season. So like the trees that were in there for autumn would come out, and then new trees would go in for winter, and then there'd be spring trees and summer flowers, and so that's one of the rooms there.
Does anyone remember what the trees were in there? Were they eucalyptus?
We'd have to ask Scott Gerard, I'm guessing, if we ever get Scott Gerard here.
I do know that.
He'll know.
I do know that the Village restaurant's big attraction was on Thursdays. They would have a fashion show with fashions from Miss Marily's Madness.
And we may have the picture of that in here. I mentioned last night during movie night that the Village restaurant eventually became Chef Mickey's Village restaurant, where they would have the character breakfast, the place where you could meet Mickey. The first established full-time character restaurant where it was like advertised here, this is what we do here.
I will throw one other thing about the Village restaurant. They brought in the finest jazz musicians in the United States on a regular basis to that location.
Yeah, in the Village Lounge. And it was such a problem that USF students would drive down and just like flood the parking lot and like just cram into the place. And they had to institute a cover charge.
And you'll also notice on one of the pages in your program is one of the newspaper ads that Hal talked about, where they have these incredible advertisements for come to the Village and see this entertainer, and one guy's on the vibraharp.
Oh, right.
Vibraharp to town, and I don't know if I put it in the slide or not. This is from the 1990 or 91 calendar, and that was shot in the Village rest. So you're going into Chef Mickey's. That was the entrance. She's pointing at the menu, and then they superimposed. This was the November one, so it was for Thanksgiving. And then the gourmet pantry. I love the ladle over top on this. That's just kind of there. And do you notice it? Do you not notice it? The steaming pot. This is from our friend BJ Major, who actually lives back in Pennsylvania. She spent a year and a half working at the Light Bite, and this is a picture of her and one of her coworkers. Heidelberger's Deli was next to the Light Bite, wasn't it? I think it was adjacent.
It was
to
down
it.
a
little
ways.
bit.
It's where the Earl Sandwich.
Earl Sandwich is now. Okay. And
Similar.
that was where you could go to get your deli and lunch.
And the Heidelberger was a person, right? I'm trying to remember. Was that somebody? Okay, never mind. Most of the names of the stores in there were actually direct references to people that worked at Disney at that time.
If not, we'll make a backstory.
Yeah.
Hashtag story.
It's lore.
Yeah.
Very
It's like
weather
the
So
Christian lore.
now we're on to Captain Jack's. Captain Jack's was the survivor. It was there until they decided to build Disney Springs.
I heard he'll get you high. Is that true or false?
Just a little push.
Yeah.
And that's a Billy Joel reference for those of you who don't get it. And there's the pedal boats outside Captain Jack's. Captain Jack's kept that sign up to the end. It was not a huge menu, but I do include the menu. And what they were famous for was their strawberry margarita. Now, I would love to tell you that I found a slide of a guy drinking the strawberry margarita inside there. I did not. Alas, it was my Uncle Joe. My Uncle Joe and Aunt Ann were childless, but in 1978, she wanted to go to Disney World, and he took her. And in the stack of pictures she handed me like 5 years ago from the trip and just said, I don't want these back, it was this picture of Uncle Joe enjoying the original strawberry margarita at Captain Jack's, wearing his straw cowboy hat. Now,
How
Howard,
he enjoyed things.
Howard,
This is
you
what
have
it
to
looked
tell
like.
us why the strawberry margarita was notable.
Well, this was the original. This is the origin of the strawberry margarita, and they used strawberries from Florida in this, and this took off nationwide after it debuted here.
I had read some stuff that like it'd been like a little popular in California, and then they brought it over here. Yeah, they made a big deal about like, oh, they're using real strawberry tequila.
Now, if you are worried that all you could get there was a cheese plate, worry not. You had an array of options there. The combination plate seems like the best deal. You could get a lot of things there, but you could get some smoked kingfish. So there's your Florida smoked fish dish. And seafood treasures are seasonal, so I don't know what the seafood treasure of the day is, but you can ask your waiter. The First Mate's platter down the bottom looks pretty good, too. And we'll move on to the Empress Lily, the trademark restaurant, still there today as Paddlefish, but
I hear it's a
mangled
great
bit.
place to rob. I don't know if that's
Scene of the
true.
crime.
Only if you have scuba gear.
Like it was Scuba Mickey. Now we know who it was.
Yeah, that's why he was
From the living
unavailable.
seas.
Right.
So this is the September 1986 Disney calendar. Why do they have that picture? Because there was a character breakfast with Pinocchio and others on the Empress Lily every day. So that's a picture of the character breakfast on the Empress Lily. Here are some construction pictures of it. Now, this is before they've cut away that land. So if you were under illusions that it's a real floating boat, I'm sorry to not float your boat. It was built from the ground up, and they eventually scooped it out. Hey, do you have pictures of them scooping it out? Sure, there it is. You can see the boons up there. They've got the bones of it up. It's a concrete structure. And the paddle wheel on the back actually turned until it became paddlefish. I guess there's an irony about that. So it's stationary now, but it used to turn slowly.
I know what it
Also,
looks
also
like now.
bob around boat sighting.
There is a bob around boat sighting.
It's like a cryptid sighting.
Most popular, worst boats ever. So this sign, this is a slide somebody took in the mid 70s. I loved it. It's not terribly clear, but you can see this was kind of like the end, and then they're like, oh, you got to keep walking. And you got to keep walking to get to it. I did try to zoom in and clean up the sign a little bit because the Empress Lily had a ton of lounges and a ton of restaurants on it. It wasn't just one restaurant. They had 5 different restaurants on there. Unfortunately, the guy didn't take a shot of the entire sign. So, not that we don't know what they were, but it would have been nice if we had done that. And they give you all the measurements of it there. And that was the walk. So when you got to like the end of the village, this was the walk. Like you had to keep walking down this path to be able to get over there. The signs, oh goodness, the signs to get into the shopping center were gorgeous. You can see the Captain's Tower in the back of that top one.
That Lake Buena Vista sign was at the entrance and across from what was the crossroads right there at 535 in Vineland.
Yeah, amazing. And then this one here I posted, and our old friend Hugh Darley immediately commented and said this sign was designed by Mike Johnson of WED. He even hand drew the wood grain on his drawings.
Wow.
So I'm sure the carvers appreciated that. And there's the ad that's in your, I think I put it in your programs, but fantastic. You know, Terry Gibbs with his Vibra Heart, Patty Page coming in to sing at Top of the World, and the Lego display at Walt Disney World Village. And so we saw this ad and we knew the date. And I'm like, actually, we saw a slide first, and then I looked and found this ad. So this slide, I didn't buy it because the guy wanted a ridiculous amount of money. He said, don't tell Image Scan, do not copy. But that's a Lego Independence Hall outside of the Captain's Tower. So they did actually have the Lego display there, and as advertised, that's what you could have seen. So the Lego store predated by 20 years.
It never went away.
Never went away. The Village Tree, this would have been early 80s. There is the fashion show at lunch in the Village restaurant.
I've always loved that guy. Look at him.
Yeah, he's thinking, honey, with his pipe in his mouth. Honey, what do you think? Should we buy this for you?
Remarkable.
You'd look very fetching in that. As Hal talked about the promotions that they would bring in here. So in 1980, to promote The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader came and made an appearance in the Captain's Tower. When Davy Jones from the Monkees wrote his biography, he did a book signing in the Captain's Tower with Mickey making an appearance, and his biggest fan in the world there on the left, who might be a visitor from the movie V, if you look down there on the bottom left. I'm not sure. And then this was my family's visit to the village. That's me in the yellow shirt. And this was our morning before we caught our flight to go home, my first trip to Walt Disney World. But we did eat in Empress Lily, and that's the night I got in trouble for saying the word sucks. So we'll wrap up with the Lake Buena Vista Club, which was really the country club of Lake Buena Vista. There are some fabulous shots of it. And is there any part of it left now at Saratoga?
Oh yeah, no, it's still there.
Is that where the turf club is now?
No. If you go through the lobby at Saratoga into the back area, like that, the turf club is still there. And if you go below it, and I haven't been in there in years, but the pro shop was completely intact. 70s fixtures, wallpaper, everything.
What's interesting is that this was actually there were a bunch of designs in those early grant designs when they were laying out some of those model homes that they had built that never became anything. There was apparently a reference to building this club building at that time. So this may actually date back, the concept of this may date back to that golf village and having it related to the residences.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's the lifestyle you want, it's all there for you.
Oh, and I would like to point out that staircase is still there, and you can see where the pool was, and this has to have been like the worst pool at Disney World. It was so tiny.
Yeah. And then the tree houses, we'll take a quick peek at the tree houses so that you can see the interiors and the exteriors. You needed to close all of those drapes at night if you wanted any, in the Florida sun, I'm sure it was great with the trees around you. There might have been some buffering, but you had to pull those shades shut at night when the lights were on.
I heard if the lamp was left on, you knew that Dick Nunes was around.
So there's your Emile Curie interiors. And the best part about this one is the shag carpet, not only on the floor there in the kitchen, but on both sides of the spiral staircase going up. They literally had the least accessible properties in history here. To get to them, you needed to go up a flight of steps. To get to the bedroom, you needed to go up this spiral staircase of death. We can't end a discussion of the village without talking about the Saltwater Express. So give me the 30 seconds, on Saltwater Express before we show everybody them singing and dancing.
Saltwater Express, well, they were a super popular sort of folk group that started at Captain Cook's. Polynesian Village, 1972. They were very popular. They'd banter with the audience. Apparently, they stole jokes from late night. They'd go in the back room and watch late night jokes, and they'd go out and tell them to the group because they didn't know they were at Disney World. They were wildly popular. Disney used them on the Arrive Alive on 535 campaign that they were waging locally, where they're trying to get the state to pay to improve 535. Yeah, they were like sort of heroes of Walt Disney World with locals for the first 4 years. Apparently, they never actually moved them to the Village. They actually ended up leaving Disney and moving to the Hyatt House on 192.
I just want to point out that they're playing 6 nights a week from 10 to 2.
Yeah, right?
That's a lot.
And the Chummery?
The Chummery.
And probably had a day job to boot.
Oh, I hope not.
So they made a famous video that Disney filmed to promote grad nights, to local folks. So some of you have seen it before. It was played at a D23 before. It was played on the Progress City live stream not long ago. We've given it the full Todd McCartney retro WDW treatment, so it should be better and clearer than you've ever seen it before, and a little more color than you've ever seen in it before, because it's a pretty washed out film. And that's how we'll leave the stage, is leaving you to watch the Saltwater Express. You want the experience of walking through? They dressed as Pied Pipers. They come through to lead a group of teens onto a bus to take them to grad night, except that's not what's evident at the beginning. It's just kids following 2 guys playing guitars in a leotard. And I mean, it's one of the by the 1980s, it would have been kids, do not follow these people, whatever you do. So we'll start and leave the stage. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'll show you how to live, I'll show you how to fly. The time is right for a celebration. It's the dawning of a brand new generation. It's grad night and I'm anticipating life. Get on board for a magic land. Free your soul to a rock and roll band and smile. It's a party that you won't want to miss. We'll laugh and share a lot of happiness. We'll make a memory that will last the whole life long. Moving on to find a brighter day. A brand new world, a warmer kind of sunrise. A misty kind of moonlight in her eyes. Moving on, you can touch the morning star. It's not that hard to make a dream come true. Dreams come true, it's up to you. There's a world with a midnight sun, enough fun for everyone to share. The time is right for a celebration. It's the dawning of a brand new generation. It's grad night and I'm anticipating life. Moving on, you can touch the morning star. It's not that hard to make a dream come true. Dreams come true, it's up to you.
Now, we've got to make sure that they arrive in style.
The time is right for a celebration. It's the dawning of a brand new generation. It's grad night and I'm anticipating life.
Somewhere on a distant highway, traveling fast in the night, a bus bustles its way to Florida's Fantasia, bringing Sunshine State graduates to a notorious night's happening.